better than that. It's hilarious in its tragedy. Like I'm picturing him working in an office.
Yeah.
Having that, like, I can see what the woman looks like. I'm picturing this whole thing. They're playing Travel Scrabble, and the whole thing too. Like, we have to, or we'll end up in the bath.
And then we're in the bath.
Now we're in the bath.
And we laugh. And we laugh. And we laugh. And we have to, or we'll end up in the bath. Now we're in the bath.
That actually made me laugh out loud because I was not reading
hysterical.
the lyrics. And this was the first time I heard that song. It's like, oh, we'll wind up in the bath, pause. So now we're in the bath. I was like, okay.
Yes,
okay.
It's hilarious.
That's funny.
And this whole thing, and now I'm thinking marriage, and it's this wonderful thing, and oh dear God, please don't let me talk to you. I'll come in late. I'm just going to avoid you. Maybe you'll get transferred. That would be awesome. Thank you. Like, it's
what is your
hilarious?
What is your read on that, Michelle? I have always wondered, like, there's two different ways in my mind that this song could be read. So here's my two reads on it. It'd be interesting to hear, like, what you guys thought, which one it was. So this is a straightforward song, once again, about two people that work together, that are that have flirted together in the office a number of times. They always enjoy kind of flirting. It's built up this kind of chemistry between each other. He always sees her as better than him, and then she propositions him. They go upstairs. He can't believe it. Here's where it diverges. So as you were saying with those lines, is this because she has turned him down and let him know that she's not interested? Because he says throughout the song, like, I'm thinking marriage, I want long term, I'm seeing us together as two senior citizens in love. Is this him, like, is this the narrator, I don't know, male or woman, is this the narrator being turned down by the other? Yeah, Steven. Is this Steven being rejected, and it's the other person thinks it's a one-night stand? Or is this the narrator, Steven, leaving because he's disappointed in what happened?
In my mind, I have to claim this. Aaron, I would let you talk first, but I can't.
No, please. This is all you, Michelle. Go for it.
I just love this. I definitely think Steve... I'm going to say, okay, the narrator, I'm making air quotes, but in my mind, like, look at the songs, listen to the songs, look at how everything played out. This is part of how he rolls.
Like, we'll just throw a random name out there and call the narrator of the song, I don't know, like Stephen Page, just random name.
Let's randomly call him Stephen.
I say narrator just because I think Stephen people watches, and he picks up stories of people watching. And he's like, I'm going to write a song about that. I'm going to put myself where I think that person is and write this whole song around it. I think that's where a lot of his songs come from. That's why we have this really, like, disgusting person narrator oftentimes with Stephen Page. But that's my point.
And that's funny because I think it's him working out his stuff, which is fine too. I love him for that. I think it's the harder to get, the better to have. You know, the whole fantasy and the possibility and the dangling carrot, and who knows how long it's been, their flirtation has been going on for. Suddenly, here's their opportunity. And it's like Winnie the Pooh, when you ask him what his favorite thing is, and he it's the moment before he eats the honey, but he doesn't know what to call it, so he just says eating the honey. This is the same thing.
That's great.
Like, the moment where they're dancing and they're playing Travel Scrabble, like, that's the best part, but he doesn't know what to call it, so now they're in the bath and they're going to have their rendezvous, and it's great. And now reality kicks in, and he's like, oh, God, what just happened? And so you slept, and he dressed, and he left. Like, that, to me, that's the whole key of the song. It's not the bridge reveal like we're used to with him. That's the part.
It's that final verse.
He got the thing that he wanted, and is sort of like, oh, now what? And so he leaves, and he's like, oh crap, how do I deal with this now in reality? Which is hilarious. Like, it's hilarious to watch it happen. Like, this song is so visual, and it's just tells such a story, and it's it's a sound story and it's a verbal story, and it's just so awesome. I really feel like, not that things went bad, but like he got what he wanted, and now what? Mm-hmm. What's left? I'm going to sneak out of here and hope that she forgets about this. Really, is what I think.
Okay.
This whole song reminds me of, and I'm going to surprise you guys by not talking about another song or another band.
Specifically, They Might Be Giants. I promise not to bring up They Might Be Giants. I know I already referenced In Love on the Fear of Pop album by Ben Folds and William Shatner, but this song, especially what Michelle was just talking about, and the lyrics of the song, really remind me of a novel by Neil Stephenson called Zodiac. At one point, the narrator of the book, who is actually like an eco-terrorist, he has an on-again, off-again relationship with this reporter who like writes stories about him. And there was a line in the book, and I can't recall it. It's a shame I can't quote it, but I'll paraphrase it. And it was like, he was looking at her, and she seemed particularly beautiful because they hadn't slept together recently. It's like they hadn't slept together in a while, so She was really looking beautiful. I totally get that. That's like a terrible impulse, but like it's one we understand, I think. And I mean, like, you're right, the fantasy, you build it up in your head, and then the aftermath is messy and awkward. So, like,
yes, and that's what this
it's
like.
Great.
This is an exercise in
song.
Psychology.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is somebody's weird innards and how they process relationships. Like, it's so much better when it's just out of reach, but once you have it, it's sort of like, well,
now what?
What now? Now what? Exactly.
Wait, us as senior citizens of love? Oh, maybe not.
It's the fantasy is wonderful. The reality is like, oh crap.
Yeah.
And like you said, Aaron, way at the beginning of the podcast, at the end, it ends so abruptly. Like, it's hilarious. It'd be great if you transfer.
Yeah, and then it's like, dun, and it just stops. You're like, okay, I wipe my hands of this. I'm just going to pretend like it never happened.
It ends like he wishes that it would end. It ends like how he wishes the relationship would end. That's how the song ends.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is I feel like there are so many potential outcomes from here. Like, maybe they just kind of awkwardly give each other looks from across the hall every now and then, and that's it. Maybe they do get married. Maybe they end up making it work. Maybe they end up hating every day of it. Maybe they get a divorce. Like, yeah, probably one of the later ones.
They're gonna wish it never happened. They're gonna ignore each other. It's gonna be awkward.
It's gonna be awkward at work every day.
Somebody is gonna transfer.
So
out
is
of
this
state.
like Han Solo and Princess Leia? Like, did anyone think that was going to really work out?
No, I don't see it like that.
I would like to have seen it work out. No, I'm just being silly. I'm just talking about the new Star Wars movies.
Yes.
Anyways.
I was kind of surprised about that.
Yeah,
that
I wanted them to stay together, but I'm
like,
a romantic. What can I say?
Well,
I was kind of disappointed that they.
But when your son becomes a mass murderer, that's not going to keep the two people together.
Well, but Luke kind of started it all.
Okay.
Like, where the hell was his?
I've opened Pandora's box and I'm regretting. Control Z. Control Z. I'm sorry, everybody. I apologize.
Where was his Jedi mastery when he, decided to potentially
this is a
kill
whole
his nephew?
other conversation
Well, see, that's
for a
what I
whole
love
other
about
podcast.
Luke, though, is that he never does things the right way. He's always a fuck up. Luke is a fuck up every step of the way, all the way through every single one of the movies.
I don't agree with that at all, my friend. And you and I are going to come to blows.
And he constantly... But he's constantly trying to do the right thing.
Luke blew up the Death Star. Luke saved Han from Jabba. I would say he messes up a lot. He messes up a lot in Empire Strikes Back.
Luke missed the first shot.
Luke is all about Luke. Luke is such an Aries. Sorry.
That is the first time I've ever heard that sentence. I guess Han's a Capricorn. I'll take that.
No, Han Solo is a Sagittarius, if there ever was one.
Well, anyways.
Anyway.
That's the new podcast. Let's talk about
We're going to have to do an astrological Star Trek breakdown.
Ed and I agree a lot on The Last Jedi and on the other movies. So we'll come back to it again. That's not our plug for the night. What I do love...
What the hell just happened?
We just talked about how this song is, like, one of the things I want to point out, like, there's a lot of simplicity in this song, but there's also a lot of complexity. So we have Jim. Jim is playing two instruments. He's playing an electric double bass. Double bass. Double bass.
Double bass. He pulled it right out of the river. Started playing it. Electrocuted it.
He's playing an electric double bass and a double bass. So he's doubling up with two different sounds.
It's a double bass.
And
it's a quadruple bass.
Bass squared.
We have Kevin playing synth and piano. We have Tyler playing drums, tambourine, cowbell, and the wah-wah shaker.
Needs more cowbell.
We have Ed we have Ed playing the acoustic guitar, the electric guitar, and the wah-wah guitar. And then we have Steve just singing.
There's so many layers. That's what I'm talking about. It's that wall of sound, like late Beatles-inspired Phil Spector kind of thing.
And it's weird because it's one of those... It's that wall sound, but it's interesting because like they're playing... Usually you get one or the other. You get them on acoustic, and they mix acoustic and electric depending upon who, but they don't double up. Here, every single one of them is doubling up on an electric, except for Tyler, but he's got the wah-wah shaker. They're doubling up on an electric and an acoustic for every single one of their instruments. So it's really intriguing that they're doing that, but it sounds like a very simple and gentle sound.
It is a simple and gentle sound. It really makes you feel, too, like when you're listening to the lyrics and you listen to the music, for me, and this is part of why I love it, and I've loved it for years, like I just feel it. It just sort of, you can feel all that hopeful possibility, and it just kind of blooms like a flower throughout the song. And then you slept. And I dressed, and I left.
It reminds me of, I can't remember who it was, there was a comedian who was talking about, like, people are always telling you to find out your potential, and he's like, no, don't do that. Why would you ever do that? Just keep it in a box. It's your potential. It could be anything. Don't open it up and be disappointed.
It could be anything. Right, exactly.
Well, I think what you're saying, Michelle, I think is a really good point. Like, so what makes this song more than anything is Steve's not just singing. Steve, in this singing this song, is emoting. Acting. He is putting all the emotionality into it. He's not power singing like we have with Break Your Heart.
No.
Mm-hmm.
He is just like, you can hear the love and the admiration that he has in his voice in this song. And then when there's this downturn, when his heart's broken and things have gone wrong. Well, not heartbroken, but just things have not turned out well the way that he had hoped. Now we get that depressed kind of sound coming, and you hear the embarrassment.
But
he gets a lot more short.
The embarrassment, and he's the one who started it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, he started the whole thing and went there, but then he's also the one that left. So it's like, well, why are you upset? Like, you did this. Mm-hmm. Like, this is just, to me, this just fits in so well with his whole personal story, you know, just the whole way everything played out. To me, it feels very autobiographical, and maybe it's not, but it's like where it comes from. You can feel where it comes from, whether the actual scenario is true, the process, the mental process of, oh, I want this thing that's external. Oh, I've got it. Oh, I don't want it anymore. Right. Like that piece is so real, and I think a lot of people can totally relate to that.
And I think that's what I like about Steven's singing. Like, I've heard people criticize Steven's singing. I've heard people criticize his voice and say that...
How dare they?
Rude.
I will...
Such rudeness.
Put up your dukes, whoever's going to say that.
Like, people have criticized it, and I'm like...
Hold me back.
The amount of emotion...
He's got the voice of an angel.
And the amount of emotion...
Steven. He's great. He's
what you get out of him that you don't get out of a lot of singers is...
He goes there. He totally goes there.
He's a very
he sells it.
Unconventional voice, so I guess I sort of understand why some people might not like him. But like, I here's the thing: whether or not you like his voice or the quality of his voice or the timbre or whatever however you want to address it, I think it would be unwise for anyone to dismiss him as not being talented. I think it's clear that he's very talented. I happen to like his voice and what he does with it. If you don't free country, but like
Right.
he's talented, and if you try and deny that, you're just being